Alright guys, welcome back to Jaygeons and Dragclarks Rise of Tiamat edition. I'll be your DM, Corey. Um, when Well, we should do a quick recap of what happened in the first half of this campaign, which was Horde of the Dragon Queen. The party was transported from where they were at that time in Barovia to just outside Greenest on the Sword Coast. Everyone went through some changes. Hagrid became a paladin, Laven became a druid, and Tony Pobar became a gnome barbarian, convinced that he's a Goliath. You guys noticed the town of Greenest was being assaulted and was on fire, so you guys went down to try to help out. Found out that there were people looting houses and stuff like that, and you saved everyone at the keep. Long story short, and then you warded off a blue dragon that was a part of this raid. Um, after after the raid was over, you guys followed the raiding party's trail to their camp, where you guys essentially were able to learn that there was a sort of cult of the dragon operating in the area. You found Leosin Erlenthar, a half-elf monk, and released him from their capture. They had him as a prisoner. He then asked you guys, while he went to Elturel to talk with allies about what he had learned, for you guys to go into the dragon hatchery that was at the camp there and find out what was going on in there. You guys went in, cleared it out, found a couple of dragon eggs. I believe it was 3 dragon eggs, which you then brought with you back to Greenest, and then eventually on the road to Elturel. During your time in Greenest, you met with Tyrannus, a gnome bard, who, while traveling with the party, was not always... Not everyone in the party was the biggest fan of Tyrannus, but you guys did do a lot of work together. Tyrannus, with the use of his polymorph ability, was the one who was able to get those eggs out of the hatchery for you guys in the first place. But you guys traveled north to Elturel, the City of Light, because there is an unnatural light source in Elturel that shines at all hours, so there's never a night there, but wards undead away from the city. You guys met with Onthar Froom and Leosin Erlenthar, in Elturel, where you became members of the Harpers and the Order of the Gauntlet. Actually, I believe, Hagrid, you were the only one to join the Order of the Gauntlet. Everyone else were Harpers. And Leosin and Onthar asked you to travel north to Baldur's Gate to get into a caravan so that you guys could get into the same caravan as the cult and track their shipment north to see where they're taking their treasure and what they're doing with it. So you guys embarked on a long journey north on the Tradeway. It was like a 2-month journey, I think, where you guys met Crispin, the rogue. There were some hijinks along the way. Leosin got sick from a bunch of changelings. Tyrannus blew up a wagon and 8 horses. No, 2 horses and 8 people. Eventually you made it north to Waterdeep, where you then followed the cultists further north towards Neverwinter, but wound up stopping at a roadhouse where you found where the treasure was going. You tracked it through the swamp to Castle Neritar, a castle sinking into the swamp in the Mere of Dead Men. You guys fought the cultist in charge of Castle Neritar, as well as the leader of the Bullywugs, who were aligned with the cult at the castle. And you found a portal at the bottom of the castle that took you high up into the mountains at another location, where there was a hunting lodge, where you met Talus the White, who asked you to get aboard the Cloud Giant's floating sky castle so that you could continue tracking the shipment. Also, Talus wanted you to get aboard the castle because she wanted you guys to make Resmir the Black look bad. you end up killing Rezmir the Black and obtaining her black dragon mask. You you met a white dragon named Glazhael aboard the Sky Castle. Tyrannus was able to, at least for Tony's sake, keep him from being eaten immediately, and defuse the situation. You met with Blagovkis, who was the cloud giant in charge of the Skyreach Castle, and were able to convince him that you were not cultists and that you were working against the cult. And Blagovkis was inspired then to continue his war against the cult, and he decided to crash Skyreach Castle, which was sort of the culmination of Horde of the Dragon Queen, with members of the party polymorphed or using summoned eagles, giant eagles, to fly behind the Skyreach Castle when it crashed into a mountain range, which was a surprise to the party because you guys were expecting it to crash into the ground. With the ground being really meeting you versus you meeting the ground in this scenario, you guys also crashed into the side of the mountain and tumbled down through the snow, where a raven actually was nearby and hopped up to you guys, and when it opened its mouth to caw, a familiar voice of Leeson Erlenthar came out, inviting you to a council of Waterdeep. At that point, you guys as players were removed from that consciousness and woke up in Barovia. And so, essentially, the way you guys find yourselves back in the Sword Coast is, it's like a flashback in a movie where you basically close your eyes and you open them and you're somewhere else, right? And that's kind of a lazy segue, but it's not quite as jarring this time. You've been in these bodies, you know these people. So you look around, you see, you look down, you see that your equipment has changed. Crispin, you're wearing, the garb of a rogue. You've got your cloak of elven kind. Leovan Gon is your trusty bow, and your abilities of hunting and tracking, and replaced by it is a power within you derived from nature. Hagrid sees his armor different. The holy symbol also has changed. As you guys sort of blink, it almost feels as though you've just kind of woken up into consciousness. You find yourselves in a really bright, naturally lit room. There's large windows all around. The furniture, the columns, all the supports have gold ornamentation or filigrees on them, so much so that the natural sunlight mixed with the gold gives the entire room like a golden, sort of like an amber filter over it. So the whole room is covered in this golden hue, which is in stark contrast really to the dark sense of foreboding that is being that everyone you can kind of pick up on from all these people who are around you in this this meeting hall. You guys have awoken in the Council of Waterdeep that you had been invited to. As a short bout of silence comes over the group, there is this sound in the background. It's this deep, sort of low horn. It's almost an imperceptible sound. It almost sounds like it's a kind of wind blowing this sound through. But what's more striking about it is the sense of dread that it instills in you. It's like this, when this low sound comes through, you kind of feel it tugging at the bottom of your stomach with this like I said, a sense of dread. As you look around you, there are many people in this meeting hall. At one seat of the table is a moon elf fighter. She is dressed in just plain travel clothes. You see around her neck a symbol of the Harpers. Continuing to look around, you see a familiar face in Ontharr Froom, the human paladin. He's wearing just typical plate armor, nothing too crazy. You see the symbol of Torm, holy symbol around his neck, and you see also next to it the Order of the Gauntlet logo. There is a male half-elf ranger at the table as well, wearing a deep emerald cloak. There are many members sporting the icon of the Lord's Alliance around the table. There is a dwarven. Let's see, where's he at? There's a male dwarven shield, or a shield dwarf, wearing like dwarven splint armor. So it's splint armor as you're used to seeing, but it sort of has this goldish sort of well-crafted appearance to it. There is another male human fighter wearing traditional plate armor. So there's a wild elf fighter, Laven. You notice that he sort of seems to have the air of the power of nature around him as well. He's wearing a fine traveling cloak with embroidery around the edges, and even some in the fabric itself of nature inspired. There's like vines and brambles and things like that. Also at the table you see a male wizard. He's wearing really splendid kind of robes. They're metallic in their appearance, they're very shiny, but it seems that as he moves around, with the discussion that's going on around the table, the colors almost seem to change. It goes from being a gold to like a crimson, an emerald, a silver. So these robes are sort of prismatic. There is another male human paladin. He is wearing a chain shirt, and everyone seems to be regarding him quite highly. He seems very wise. And last but not least, at the head of the table is a man that I'm sure anyone in the Sword Coast would recognize. You guys recognize him as Lord Dagult Neverember. He is a male human, has a lot of sort of pomp around him. Like he is the leader of the Lord's Alliance at this point. He's wearing fine golden cloak fastened to like very shiny, like sort of silvered plate armor. And so he's addressing the group, addressing the council, and he says, abductions and raids undertaken by the Cult of the Dragon increase daily, and refugees are fleeing from burned-out regions under cult attack to major cities and fortresses. Villages have abandoned their crops and herds, fleeing the constant predation of dragons. In many cities, all-out panic has created a growing movement in favor of agreeing with the cult's demands in the hope of winning concessions in return. During these troubling times, it is difficult to muster troops. When people are afraid, they will be burned by dragonfire. This is a time for heroes to inspire the people of the Sword Coast with a great victory or two. Fortunately for us, and as he motions to the group of the party, we have such a group of heroes. At this point, you notice someone else at the table. He's been kind of carefully observing the group. And he doesn't appear to be... It's not as though he is aligned with anyone, but at the same time, no one is really going out of their way to address him. Jay, if you would like to describe your character.
You're muted. Yeah, if I turn on my microphone, that helps. My character's about 6 feet tall, burnt tan skin, um, kind of like sort of unkempt, becoming curlier black hair. It's dirty. It looks like he's been kind of out on his own, in a rural area for a long period of time, and he certainly smells that way as well.
Do I think I'm looking in the mirror right now?
You do not. No, no. This is somebody who, like, Leovan, as you would look at him, you sit there like, this is a guy who recently started living out in the woods and wasn't fully prepared for what the undertaking would have meant. A little bit emaciated, a little bit underfed, but there's a sense of hyper focus, just trying to absorb every word that's coming in right now.
As Lord Neverember finishes his sort of address to the council, the woman from the Harper, she sort of speaks up. You know, she's very soft spoken. She hasn't been speaking a lot. However, her patience has sort of worn during this council. There we go. I'm convinced that the rumors of Tiamat's return are true, and I am very frustrated by the unwillingness of other Harpers. And she looks up, and you see there is actually a sort of viewing balcony to this this meeting hall, and there are other members of organizations up there, people who weren't chosen to sit at the table, but are it's still important that they're there for the proceedings. And you see Leosin Erlenthar up there, and she makes direct eye contact with him. I'm very frustrated by the unwillingness of other Harpers to commit to fighting the cult of the dragon. And then there are that kind of causes the group, the table, to erupt in
yeah. If you're unwilling to do the dirty work, then why should we do it for you? What's exactly in this for us?
Ontharr Froom, he sort of slams on the table. He says, "The strong must defend the weak, no matter the cost. That's what's in it for you."
Then why are they up there, telling us to do the job for them?
To answer your question specifically, what we're facing, if it comes to fruition, there is no difference between the strong and the weak. They are all to be culled. So it's either we band together, or we all die together. There is no third option.
Standing on the balcony seems like a third option.
Not everybody can rise to being a hero. The only reason that anyone here without a title is here is because they've done something to earn a seat at this table.
Well, we're going against the Dragon Horde. Whatever I find, I'm taking.
I don't care to stop you. Go ahead. As long as you sit there and pledge your steel and pledge your mind towards ending this threat, any price is immaterial.
Don't think anyone wants my mind, but you have my steel. And my body. My mind is a hindrance. Trust me.
I think we're straying off the path. Why don't we get back to the points?
Lord Neverember speaks up. He says, "Romalia is right. We have a duty to the people of Sword Coast. The commoners need strong leaders to protect them and to do what must be done, even when it's distasteful." And Romalia speaks up again. She says, "Our failure would spell an end to all beautiful and honest things, and we cannot allow this to come to pass. This is a preventable disaster. The people up on the balcony are up there because there's not enough seats at this table. You don't need that many voices. We need strong leaders. Like my friend Anthar said, we need strong leaders to take charge. Everyone at this table is a leader. And you lot are here because you are men of action. And she also regards you, Cassius. You are men of action, and action is what is needed.
Do we know what that action is? What's the cult's next step?
Let's see.
Or is that why we're here to find out?
This is why we're here. We are here to discuss what we know and what can be done.
Well, do we know that they're... I don't know. What do we know? Should we show them the masks that we got from that dragon?
So when you show the mask, the wizard in his robes, he speaks up. He says, "That is one of the masks of the dragon. The cult, they need all of the 5 masks of each chromatic dragon to bring them together to summon Tiamat from the Well of Dragons. The fact that we even have one is a great strength for us. But," and Leosin, actually, from the balcony, he chimes in. He says, "My harpers have learned that one of the worm speakers, Varum the White, is potentially no longer in possession of his mask. At this point, oh shit, which one is he? Sorry. Like I said, there's like 12 NPCs at this thing.
Don't worry, I can sit there. It's like, are we sure that this many people knowing about the whereabouts of even one of these masks is a good idea? Shouldn't we kind of compartmentalize this information?
It's a little late at this point, isn't it?
Yes,
we haven't actually revealed anything.
All I'm saying here is, if this power is based off of all 5 masks being around each other, all we should know is that we have one of the masks. Not who has it, not where has it, not when it changes hands. The more information that is freely given about these masks, even amongst our own, unfortunately it doesn't breed trust, but trust is a luxury we may not always have.
Unless we want to use it as bait.
Right now, I feel like the white mask might be a better option. We know that we have the one. We know that there's another one up in the air. We have to assume the other 3 are in possession of the cult right now. Protecting the masks we have and separating them is the best play that we have at preventing annihilation.
Wizard Man, is there anything we can do to destroy this mask that might tamper their plans?
As far as I have learned, the masks themselves are nigh indestructible. Even our greatest scholars have not been able to discern a method to destroy it. However, as long as we can keep him out of the hands of the cult and away from their red wizards, we should be able to prevent the nefarious plot from coming to fruition. At this point, Lord Neverember stands up. He's a tall, broad-shouldered guy, thick beard, wild mane of hair, and like when he stands up, even if you guys don't know him, but that you take note. He has a very forceful manner about him. He says, "Doctor is right. There is no reason why we should divulge where these masks are. However, obtaining a second one would be a great value to us." One of the male fighters in the plate armor, he stands up and he's And how do you propose that we do this? I'm trusted with protecting thousands of lives, and I will not betray that trust no matter what my personal desires. Give me just a sec. Hang on. There was someone else who had something to say here.
Sith.
I'm certain we won't need your abilities specifically. You said it yourself, you're better at protecting things than you are finding things. What we need is a series of people who can track, people who can locate, people who know Arcana enough. And you may have some divine abilities to protect others, but divine abilities to protect are not the same as the ability to find.
And I may be big, but I can move so slow that I become imperceptible to the human eye.
Did I give that guy? The human paladin in the chain shirt, he stands up, he says, against Tiamat we either stand together or fall alone. Who will stand with Cormyr? If someone wants to, go ahead and make a history check.
That is not
Ooh, that's a terrible roll. That is a terrible, terrible roll. I am not a historian. That's not what I got my doctorate in.
I am not either.
That is a 9.
8.
Yeah, I rolled an 8 as well, so it's irrelevant at this point. Hagrid, save us.
I'm not a doctor of history.
We may have lost Hagrid.
Hagrid, did you roll? Okay, someone got a 9, right? Was that you, Cassius?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
you actually recognize the man as Sir Istavel. He was a former adventurer. But what he's talking about with Cormyr, and this is something that causes a lot of stir, because Cormyr is actually a neighboring nation to the Sword Coast. I've been drafted by Cormyr to gain insight into what looks to be a war brewing on its western border. I have too much respect for all of you to hide this information from you, and I assure you that my loyalties to Daggerford, to Cormyr, to the Lord's Alliance, and to all good folk are not at cross purposes here. But at this point, everyone like Lord's Alliance, basically everyone but Lord Neverember sort of erupts. Like they're pissed that this person has been invited here in the name of the Lord's Alliance, but he is not. They feel he's not representing the Lord's Alliance. They feel he's representing some neighboring nations, a foreign interest. And Lord Neverember stands up. He says, Sir Istavel, your heroics are the stuff of legend. However, this council cannot work if we don't have mutual respect between all involved. So, those in favor of removing Lord Istavel from the council, please speak now. You see a couple hands go up. The shield dwarf and the half-elf ranger. They raise their hands. Everyone's kind of looking around to see who else wants this to happen. Does anyone from the party wish Sir Istavel removed from the council?
We don't really know much about him.
Yeah. So, do we know why they want him removed? I might have missed that.
He's a foreigner.
He's here because he's a member of the Lord's Alliance. However, he's
from a foreign land, and they think he might have their interest in mind.
He's been drafted by a neighboring country called Cormyr to
that's what you're saying.
get information about what's a war. This cult of the dragon problem is along their western border.
Yeah, I was gonna
Gotcha.
say I feel like a dragon thing is a worldwide issue, so I don't feel like that matters too much.
They are protecting their borders just like we are protecting ourselves. If we fall, they're next in line. The dominoes will keep on going.
And we can use all the resources
Yeah.
we can get.
They have as much incentive to stop this thing as anybody.
And he knows this much. There's no point turning him back now.
I would be remiss to sit there and fear a future war when there is already one on the horizon. We have nothing left to decide. This isn't even a decision at all. He stays.
Lord Neverember, taking stock of everyone around us. Very well, Sir Istabel, your respect and your loyalties has been acknowledged. You will be permitted to remain on this council. There's one thing I wanted to find here. No, that's not it. Where the hell is that? Sorry guys, there was one thing that was in here that I really wanted to include. There was a Remy Ramalia, the Moon Elf fighter from the Harpers. She speaks up. She said, though the leadership of the Cult of the Dragon could not have realized it, one of the key events to fight. One of the most terrible atrocities that has been executed by the cult thus far is their ruthless assassination of Arthagast Ulbrinter. He was the Masked Lord of Waterdeep, my husband. News of his murder has spread across the Sword Coast and is galvanizing opposition to the cult in Waterdeep. I have sworn to destroy the cult and the threat it presents. I have done much to bring all of you here to this table. Will you stand with us in Waterdeep to oppose the cult? Ontharr Froom, he pledges his loyalty. The half-elf ranger, he stands up and he says, in all good hearts is a spot of darkness, and in all tragedy is a glimmer of light. The Emerald Enclave will stand with you. Let's see. The shield dwarf fighter, he stands up. He says, a sturdy axe and a strong hand to hold it, and a straight fire are we all dwarves need to end this little problem.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
At this point in time, Hagrid steps forward and pledges his loyalty to the end of the cult. He says, I have a very personal and private reason wanting to eliminate these people. I pledge my loyalty.
The shield dwarf across the table from you, Hagrid, who had just wrapped up speaking, he gives you a nod. The the elf druid, he speaks up. He says, "We elves were once the greatest civilization to grace Faerun, and my people are heir to that history. I will not squander our remaining strength. You have the dwarves, you have the party. You do not need us."
No, I mean, I'm definitely down to stop the dragon cult, but is that what we're just pledging right here? Are we pledging to stick around in Waterdeep and only defend you guys? Because I'm not necessarily down for that.
The pledge, if I'm not mistaken, is to sit there and say that the cult will meet its end, that we're not allowing
Oh, definitely.
our current monstrosities to get in the way of a
I
greater
will join
monstrosity.
Waterdeep in that sense, but I'm not going to sit around with my thumb up my ass waiting for them to come to us.
I'll
Yeah,
pledge the defense of not just Waterdeep, but all the Sword Coast.
Yes.
I only have an
And
interest
myself.
in taking care of the cult.
Yeah.
The elf druid, he continues, visibly feeling as though he has been slighted by being interrupted. But he also has this, as you guys hear him speak, you see that his arrogance doesn't end at his fine garb. I have led the elves of the Misty Forest since before most of their kind abandoned the lands in the retreat. The retreat, a rash decision, and has been a scar on our people for millennia. I will not commit to such a sudden course of action. While I say that you do not have our aid at this time, if there is... I will return to this table in future consuls, because if appropriate action is being taken and appropriate plans are being made, the Elven Eldritch Knights may be of assistance.
So you're just gonna sit back and wait?
Let's not question their motives right now. Let's just remind them that history comes, and it doesn't come on anybody's schedule. You may want to reconsider sooner rather than later and make sure you're on the right side of it.
Yes, calculated risks are necessary to win this war, and no one is likely to emerge unscathed. The army of Silvery Moon will pledge what resources we can. Laven, you were about to say.
Yeah, I just want to say to that guy in Druidic, like, this isn't the time to just sit back and wait.
He gives you a look of understanding, but is ultimately unwavering. Who else is there? That's actually...
Do we have any leads on where this white mask might be, or do we just know that it might be missing?
Let's see here.
Do we know any? And if not, do we know anyone who might know? 'Cause I feel like that's the best lead we've got at this point.
As everyone kind of looks around, seeing if anyone does have information for it, before anyone from the Harpers can speak up, because Leeson actually knows the most about it. Again, you hear a sudden shift in the wind, and with it a strange sense of unease. The feeling is akin to a drop in air pressure before the approach of a deadly storm, or faint tremors felt from a landslide or earthquake far away. You're not the only ones who notice this. You even notice outside the city has gone unnaturally quiet. No dogs bark, no birds squawk. Even the street vendors have gone silent. Lord Neverember speaks up and says, while obtaining a dragon mask is very important, this ancient
This
disturbance needs to be addressed. I've brought someone here. What's her name again? Della, if you will please enter the chambers. And in the chambers comes she's a smaller woman, but she comes in and she says, she comes in and she says, yes, that unmistakably that disturbance comes from an ancient relic known only as the Drakhorn. The Sea of Moving Ice was the last known location of the Drakhorn. No one can pinpoint its present location from the sound, or even verify with certainty that the relic is still in the Northern Sea. But with the information that we have, the search must start there. The one person who could tell us more is a tiefling sorcerer called Macath the Crimson. No one alive knows more about the Drakhorn than her, but the Arcane Brotherhood, of which she is also a member, hasn't seen her for years. She was investigating the Sea of Moving Ice when she disappeared.
If I may interrupt you, I feel like we're glossing over some important points. We know that this is a Crimson Tiefling. Let's just make sure we got her name right.
Her name is Macath. Maccath. Macath the Crimson.
Continue on.
Where is that? Dala, basically, she sort of just the disturbance that's been sensed across the Sword Coast. It can only be the Drakhorn. As far as we know, the device's purpose is alerting dragons across Faerun that great events are unfolding. It's impossible to say what the sounding means exactly, but the dragons hear it clearly and will answer its call. We believe the cult is in possession of this Drakhorn, or at the very least has an ally who is. We believe that the cult is using the Drakhorn to call more chromatic dragons to their cause. Once Lord Neverember finishes that, Leosin comes down into the chamber, having made his way down from the balcony, and where is that at? He comes in and says, yes, my agents have heard rumors that the theft of the white dragon mask from the dwarf Verum could in fact be true. While all the other worm speakers are in hiding, Verum has been spotted recently in the trade settlement of Borskir Bridge near the Serpent Hills. With our, and he looks to the woman Harper at the table. It was sort of a look of like. He shoots her a look. Why don't you, if anyone wants to make an insight check to see what the look might mean, go ahead.
Yeah. 17 plus 22.
It's a look of sort of. I understand your pain, but your grief is sort of hiding the whole truth from you. Like someone who's acting impetuously because of grief. He says, my Harpers are already spread far and wide on intelligence gathering missions. We spread far too thin to approach this worm speaker, nor do we really have the strength. Might I suggest that a band of heroes may be the perfect choice to pursue the worm speaker?
I'm glad you thought that, because I was just about to volunteer for that mission.
At this point, Lord Neverember, he's thank you all for your contributions. Now, we know our enemy as best we can, and we know what our first two moves can be. But We must all understand what the move we make first is. Now, you lot, as he motions to Cassius and the adventuring party, you are just the heroes we believe that the Sword Coast needs. What move would you make first?
Well, the Drakhorn appears to be some sort of communication methods on there. We can do that. We might be able to thin their numbers in future endeavors. It might make it easier for us to move undetected, be easier for us to counterattack. However, do we need to protect our own? Because we can't counterattack if we don't have any numbers to counterattack with.
As we gain power via obtaining another dragon mask or silencing the Drakhorn, others will inevitably join the cause.
We already have one dragon mask, so that kind of makes the other one useless to them unless they get the one we have. So
I would argue
the Drakhorn would be the.
I would argue that as well. For them, the difference between 3 of 5 and 4 of 5 is negligible. And it's going to be harder for us to defend 2 masks than it is 1. I think the Drakhorn's the right call for the first step.
Yeah,
Does anyone know, Wizard Man, if we get control of the Drakhorn, would we have any influence over the dragons?
Could we? So the Drakhorn summons dragons. Does it summon them to where the horn is used?
What's her name? Dala Silmerhelv. She speaks up again. She says, unfortunately, even less is known about the effects of the Drakhorn than its location. We know only a faint glimmer of where it may be, and even less about what it may do.
Look, we can sit there and wring our hands all that we want. However, the longer we let that Drakhorn exist, the more that they can mobilize against us freely. At a certain point, we have to take a risk to make a big dent in their movements and allow us the chance to mobilize against them. Stopping that horn, keeping that feeling of dread out of the pit of people's stomachs might be enough to galvanize them to our cause. Another mask that we hide in the dark because we're afraid to let it see the light will not have the same effect. I think the choice is simple, at least for now.
Yeah, one's actually moving forward, the other's delaying the inevitable.
I think that's the biggest threat right now.
Okay. So you guys want to go up to the sea of moving ice and try to locate the Drakhorn?
Yes, sir.
It makes the most sense.
Okay. Lord Neverember and the council acknowledge this. They wrap up the council, and the council is dismissed. As everyone is sort of milling about, Dala Silmerhelv pulls you guys to the side, and she says, I think it also is important to your mission that you know what all we know of Makath's fate. She may in fact be the key to you finding the Drakhorn after all. Makath reported her progress to the Hoss Tower by the way of sending spells. Her last report spoke of seeing ice hunters paddling their sealskin boats towards a huge iceberg flattened like a plateau across its surface, but ringed by icy peaks. She had intended to follow the ice hunters and investigate the iceberg. After that, no more reports came. Attempts to find Makath using scrying and other magical means located only her ship, adrift and heavily damaged. Some of the ship's crew were seen dead, but no sign of the tiefling sorcerer was ever found. However, the lair of a dragon as powerful as Orathator is no doubt protecting against scry magic. If Makath is alive, in addition to the lore she can share regarding the Draghorn, the Arcane Brotherhood would be most grateful to get her back.
So we sneak onto a big floating iceberg and snatch her.
We shall make it a secondary objective, but in order to aid us in this quest, do we have a log of the messages she sent and when? It might help us be able to track her.
Was she on the trail at all of the horn? Did she give any clues on anything she might have found up there about it?
Let me find it.
Because otherwise we might have to go find her.
Okay, so she was part of the Arcane Brotherhood, which is a league of mages based in the city of Luskan, at the fabled Host Tower of the Arcane. Cassius, you've probably heard of that, just based on your research. The Host Tower is an academy for the best and brightest mages of Faerun, and only the most promising are accepted as members. So Makath had oh, okay. So she went north to the Sea of Ice, seeking that dragon. His name is Orathatur.
So she was thinking the dragon, not the horn.
Yes, because
Okay.
she is very well versed in draconic lore and draconic relics. So she probably knew a bit about the Draghorn to begin with. But it appeared she wanted to know more about dragon's magic.
So there's no guarantee that the Draghorn is up there, even just that she's up there.
Right. That's the last known location of the Draghorn.
Also, okay.
We are not going to be able to find that per se without her notes and most likely without her. So
Yeah.
I'm unwavering in the decision.
So yeah, she went up there to learn about the magic that was stolen from the Host Tower during something known as the Rage of Dragons. So yeah, she went north to sort of talk to Orathatur, the dragon, and see what she could learn, but hasn't been seen since. I don't have a timeline on that. So let's say it's probably been a year or two since she was last heard from. Any records?
Shit, she can be anywhere.
Any records of her communication with the Host Tower would be at the Arcane Brotherhood in Luskan. Luskan, the city.
Is that on the way to the
It's a
ice ring?
It's a fantastic question, Aaron. Let me look at this map of the Sword Coast.
I mean, we're getting to the point now where distance is an inconvenience as opposed to making things inaccessible.
Right.
It's not like somebody of the party that I don't know yet can transform into a giant eagle and just carry people.
Only so many people.
Yeah.
There's a
Luskan.
reason why it didn't work in Lord of the Rings, and there's a reason why it's not going to work now. We don't know what that reason is, but I'm sure there is one.
Yes, because I forgot that Dungeons and Dragons is just a game where the DM says, "Oh, fuck you."
Well, there's a shit ton of dragons flying around. I feel like there's plenty of chances to say "fuck you."
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like Luskan isn't really on the way, but Della, Dala. Your question, Doctor, was to obtain records of her reports.
Yes.
Given that these reports were performed via the message spell, it's doubtful that the Host Tower has a solid record of these.
No one transcribed. Well, you may have to employ a new position.
Well, unfortunately, hindsight is 20/20, and our oversights are often not revealed until after a tragedy has struck.
Can Dr. Hall pulls out a map and sits there and goes, for the ease of us beginning our tracking, I need you to mark her last known location. And you said it was a year or two ago. So unfortunately, we have to start there and look outward.
I mean, how many giant iceberg plateaus surrounded by rings can there be?
That's the easy part. The hard part is knowing that specifically where they took her and left her.
So there's only one problem
would think.
with your question, Doctor, is the area of the sea of moving ice is well, the ice moves. Gigantic icebergs. They wander listlessly through this glass-like sea, smashing and grinding against each other by bitterly cold winds. They don't even always look the same because it's so cold when the sea does spray, when they smash together, that these icebergs, they get new frozen shapes on them and things like that. I will say that there is a where is he at? The council will outfit you with cold weather gear, including snowshoes suitable for traversing deep drifts, and have arranged for passage north on a ship specifically built for plying the waters of the Sea of Moving Ice. You will report to a ship known as Frost Skimmer, which is captained by a human man known as Larusta Half-Face. He has
face?
Yes, he has experience though traversing the Sea of Moving Ice.
And does he recall seeing an iceberg home base of pirates? Ice pirates.
He. Well, I guess you'll have to ask him when you guys report to the Frost.
Fair enough.
Did you guys have any other questions for Dallas Silmarelv?
Yeah, not skipping over Scott's question, but does he really have half a face? Like, I don't know if that was it was a joke comment, but
he does really have half a face.
He does. Okay.
The right half of his face was left a scarred ruin from severe frostbite suffered years ago on the Sea of Moving Ice. He keeps a leather hood drawn across his face most of the time, both for warmth and so as not to frighten children.
And me.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any other questions because any sort of mundane way to track this shit has been obviously shot down.
Right.
Hey, go find this missing person and this thing. And there might be dragons there, but fuck you for actually tracking them.
Sorry, there is Wait, what? Okay, so what she can tell you is that so that white dragon named Arothator, one of his chief layers is known as Oya Vigaton, which is it's another language for Island of Eternity. And that's likely where McCath was headed, since she was trying to interview Orthatur.
And Orthatur was the white dragon, correct?
Correct, yes. I will... So that's the name of the... I put it in the chat.
Yeah,
Viggo Mortensen. Got it. Well, now we at least have a path.
Mhm.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'm tired of being in this chamber. I must away.
Okay. Was there anything you guys wanted to do in Waterdeep before meeting up with Captain LaRusta and the Frost Skimmer?
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty well equipped.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
you
know
guys
about the
are
rest of you.
given cold weather traveling gear, so that's taken care of.
Does it cover my entire face?
And I do have a lot of money.
I mean, the only at some point I'd like to try to make some healing potions.
Okay, you have
I could probably do that like on the way though.
yeah.
I have an herbalism kit.
Okay.
Yeah.
At this point, during the travels, I will bust out my alchemy kit, and I will make a couple vials for you, Corey. One will be of Night Eye, and one will be of Reconstruction.
Okay. All right. So as you guys approach the docks in Waterdeep, you see the Frost Skimmer. It is a light long shift with a shallow drift, driven by a single sail. It looks like it can also be powered by oars when necessary. The combination of wind and oar power is necessary when you're picking a course through close-packed ice. Despite its length of nearly 60 feet, it's still light enough to be lifted by its 40 crew members if it gets stuck in the ice. The ship is open to the air, but the crew rig sailcloth shelters across the deck to keep away the wind and sleet and hold in some of the warmth. So Captain LaRusta welcomes you aboard his ship. His face is... he has a leather hood that is tightened down to be mostly covering his face. Do you have any questions for Captain LaRusta at all?
Are you familiar with Oyavakatan at all? If I pronounced correctly.
Well, I've spent some time up in the Sea of Moving Ice. Now I've been looking for that specifically. We out there try to avoid the old White Death when we can. So I may have seen this particular glacier, but finding it is still a matter of chance, given the drift of the glaciers.
Well, that's a chance we're taking today.
My crew and I are ready.
Have you ever run into ice hunters on your trek?
Yeah, they're out and about in the area. They tend to keep to themselves.
Keep to themselves as leave us alone, or keep to themselves as in territorial?
They're more concerned with their own survival, which extends as far as appeasing the old White Death.
That likely means that they're going to be an early detection system for him. If you see him, be on your guard.
They very well may be.
Well, we're wasting daylight not searching.
All right.
Laven, Haggard, any questions? Doesn't know.
Yeah, I think we're all right.
All right. So the journey up the Sword Coast, not really focus of this. With favorable winds, Frostskimmer can make it up to the Sea of Moving Ice in just a couple of days. From that point, though, you guys have to slow down and proceed cautiously. Captain LaRusta doesn't really have any strong feelings one way or the other, whether you guys should pull Frostskimmer onto an ice floe at night or spend the night on the water. Obviously, from a comfort standpoint, being on an ice floe is more comfortable and offers safety from certain aquatic creatures, where sleeping on the deck is colder and less comfortable, but provides shelter from creatures that hunt only on the ice. So the decision on where to spend the night is going to be up to you guys when that does come to be an issue. So when you guys arrive at the Sea of Moving Ice, you begin searching for Oya Vigaton, which, while Captain LaRusta hasn't necessarily seen it himself, you were given a description of it by Della Helmsilver. Silverhelm, that's what it was. Which was, sorry. Where was it?
While you're looking that up, I'll just sit there and say, like, while we're in downtime and I'm not actively trying to look for threats, I am reviewing draconic flashcards, just making sure that I'm up on my linguistic skills.
Okay.
Since I don't get to speak it that often.
Right. All right. Oh yeah. So it's a huge iceberg, flattened like a plateau across its surface, but ringed by icy peaks. So, I've already gone through the liberty of rolling out the random encounters. So, for the whole first morning, there is it passes without any anything of note, really. In the afternoon, however, you guys do see a group of fishers spotted in their boats. They're a little bit away. What would you guys like to do? Like, do you want to try to move towards them, to communicate with them, or engage them? Like, what do you want to do?
Well, can we make a perception check to see, do they look like just fishers or do they look more like hostile?
Go ahead and make a perception check.
That's a decent one. Oh yeah, that's 26 adjusted.
26 adjusted. Okay. Where did that go? Everything keeps running away. So you notice that they are the very typical build for ice hunters. Short, dark-haired, broad-faced, light brown skin. Very, Eskimo looking.
I turn to the guys and I say, they fit the description she told us about those ice hunters.
In order to find their aggressiveness, can anybody create an illusion?
Well, I know I can't.
I can do certain things.
What are those things?
I can make plants do stuff, sort of.
Are there
We'll
lifeboats
move on.
or smaller vessels?
I can make the wind blow a little bit.
Ooh,
Make them smell a skunk.
making the wind blow could come in handy.
Let's
But do we see any small vessels like attached to our boats that we could maybe send our party out there and look helpless and get kidnapped?
the goal of what I wanted the illusion to do is we could sit there and put down a regular schmuck on there and see if they attack it, see what they do.
Oh.
But if that's not an option, we'll scratch that plan off the list.
I could make some animals appear out of nowhere.
Let's
So you're Aquaman.
let's put that one in the back pocket as well. I think we'll have to sit there to assume the risk that they might attack us, but better attack us than attack the entire ship.
In my perception check, did I note how many there were?
12.
Okay. How many? Are we pretty much the only men of fighting spirit on our ship?
If necessary, the captain and the crew can fight. It's mostly they're going to mostly do that if there is a threat to their ship.
Right.
I would prefer that we don't involve them on this.
No.
I would just like to know what we're up against. I think the only way to know that is to commingle aggressively or peacefully with these ice hunters.
Captain, do you have a rowboat?
In order to cut down on weight so that they can lift the ship out of the water and onto ice floes, they don't have any boats. However,
if there's one thing we've learned, it's icebergs and boats. You don't need it, lifeboats.
yeah.
The Titanic hasn't happened yet.
Go ahead and make another perception check.
16 plus my 7. That's wise. 25, right? Sure. No. Yes. 23.
So you have noticed that the ice hunters have noticed you guys. You've seen a couple of them waving at the other ones, and they have begun to paddle away to the northeast.
Well, Captain, follow that cab.
Hold on. That might be us going into a trap. They're running away. They're the vanguard, the recon unit, and they're leading us directly into the heart of their army. Now I'm beginning to think it's not worth it.
No, they're afraid of us. And they're running
afraid of us
straight to their
yes,
base.
I agree with you. They're afraid of us in their present state. However, they may be going into a way to mitigate that fear. And if they come back, they come back. But I'm not going to desire a fight with 12 individuals so much that we'll fight 40 instead. We'll press on.
Tony Pobar pipes up. Sorry, I forgot he was with you guys. But Tony pipes up and agrees. I, Tony Lowshot Pobar, think that we shouldn't chase them because they're leading us into a trap.
Some Goliath you are.
You don't want to poke that bear.
Yeah, speaking out of character, Tony just agreed with me. Did my intelligence go down because of that?
No, it did not. However, you are not Tyrannus, so Tony will be much more likely to agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. You guys are so smart and think we're going into a trap. We'll do it your way.
I'm not saying we are going to a trap. I'm just saying the likelihood for it is higher than average.
So we were looking for the people. We find the people. And now that we find them, we're going to let them get away.
We want to find them on our terms, not theirs.
We make it our
They
terms.
thought they were going to be just.
Sorry, Haggard, can't. At least I can't hear him.
Could you speak up just a little bit, Dan?
I thought at the same time those were the people that might be able to lead us to where we want to go.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. But
It was under my impression that LaRue, the captain, sat there and had an idea of where to go.
Well, like I said, I'm not saying that we should follow them into the trap. I just thought that that was something that was mentioned before.
Yeah. I'm very okay with it, but I'd rather capture a group of less than 10.
What if we follow slowly? Let them make distance. Then, out of character, roll perception checks every once in a while. Or what's your plan? We wait around and wait for more of them to come back, and we're in the exact same situation, except there's more of them.
I'm just saying we're fighting them on their home turf. They know this area better than we do. And if they're trying to lead us somewhere, I can bet that they're going to lead us in somewhere where they have the biggest advantage.
But if they come back...
What if they're running back to get the rest of the team?
Exactly. And if they come back, they're not going to bring McCath with them.
Well, then we just not be here.
Yeah, I thought the captain kind of knew where we were supposed to go, so we just keep going that way, right?
Yeah.
So...
Then they'll know where we were, not where we are.
Essentially, while you guys are in the sea of moving ice, you guys are searching for the glacier known as Oyavigaton, which is the lair of the dragon. You guys know, as a general description, what it looks like, and Captain LaRusta may have seen it. He's not sure. He tries to avoid the dragon as much as possible when he's out here.
And you said they were fleeing to the northwest, right?
Northeast, yes.
Northeast. And when we were talking to the lady, did she say which way McCath was last heading?
Straight north.
She was last heading toward what is believed to be Oyavigaton.
Mm-hmm. Right, but did they mention which direction?
All they gave us was it was north of the settlement.
But don't forget also, guys,
everything's moves.
Constantly moving here.
Right,
so
yeah.
Oyavigaton may be to the southwest today, but in a month or two it might be due north.
Yep. I'm just saying, the more detours we plan on the way, the harder it is for us to find out where we actually are.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I think you're thinking we can catch them off guard. I'm saying this is the most off guard we're going to catch them.
Well,
Tony speaks up. He says, as a brilliant Goliath tactician, I think that since the ice hunters are in line with the dragon, that if we follow them at a good distance, maybe they'll lead us to him.
The little giant's onto something.
Well, not to be Rick Moranis here, but I'll defer to the group's opinion.
What if they're trying to annex Puerto Rico on us?
Look, I think it's unwise, but if this is what the group wants to do, I'd rather be in a group and unwise than alone, wise but still dead.
I mean, I feel like eventually we're going to have to follow them to find out where their home base is. And this is the most off guard we're going to be able to catch them. Now they know we're out here. I mean, I think next time they're going to be more likely to lead us into a trap, to be honest.
I do have one request. Leave the last one alive so we can figure out what's going on.
Oh, yes. Tie him up, poke him softly with a venom dagger.
So you guys are following?
I suppose so. I've been talked into it.
All right, so you guys are using the northeast bearing. I will let you know. So the way that events work here in the Sea of Moving Ice, I would roll a d6. On a 1, an encounter occurs. And then I roll a d6 again. I add 1 for each previous table roll while you guys were searching. And a result of 7 or more has you guys finding Oyavigaton. I just want to let you know that by using their heading, you get a +1 bonus to that. Which is why, after a night's rest, because
we're fighting.
Nothing happens at night. In the morning, you guys actually, once the morning mists at the sea kind of clear, you guys see there's no mistaking the massive silhouette of this iceberg as matching the description given by McCath to Dala and then to you, with a flattened expanse at one end rising to jagged peaks at the other. Your guys' objective is at hand.
I cast global warming.
The ice cap starts slowly melting over
We win.
over a real long time.
I'm actually just throwing styrofoam into the ocean.
And Neverwinter is now hit with a hurricane.
The rise of Tiamat, but the tyranny of humans.
All right, so let's see here. All right. Orathator's iceberg lair rises from the sea to form a floating island. The portion of the berg above the water appears roughly triangular with rounded corners. The plateau portion of the iceberg rises more than 100 feet above the water, and the jagged peaks add another 200 feet above that. You guys see there is... actually, Laven, you're proficient in nature, correct?
Let me check. Yes. Wait,
Okay.
actually, no. Somehow I'm. Hold on. Let me make sure I didn't screw that up when I transitioned. No. Yeah, I did not make myself proficient in nature.
Okay. Well, anyway. So there is a large ice shelf where you see several of the ice hunters' boats moored, visible from the water. It's about 60 feet across. It rises a few feet above sea level and is littered with enormous cracked bones, including ribs that arch taller than a human. Yes, Jay.
Is anybody watching these boats?
Not currently, no.
Okay.
Captain LaRusta informs you guys that those bones are all from whales and huge seals. Do you guys want to head to where those boats are moored and start working your way up the glacier, or what do you guys want to do?
If we do that, I would like to suggest one thing, and that's to destroy or make the boats incapacitated, make them take on water. That way, if we need to make a quick escape, it's going to be easier for us to do so.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want them utterly destroyed. I want the way that it goes is I want them to get into it, and the weight of them getting into it will then let it slowly sink. So when we it's just enough for us to get away.
So chisel weak rectangles in the center.
Yeah, essentially.
So, once the weight goes on it, it pushes through.
It's like when you're getting your kid a pet gerbil, and you have to keep it in a box between the pet shop and home, and then to make sure that the pet doesn't choke to death, you poke little holes in. We're just doing that on a bigger scale.
All right, so Captain LaRusta brings the frost skimmer up to the shelf. You guys are able to hop out and incapacitate those boats without much difficulty at all. Like I said, you guys can't see where those people went, but there is...
Are there footprints? Is this more ice, or is there enough snow? Is there any snow cover?
Or is it like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon where the tracks are clearly detailed?
There's some footprints leading up to a ladder that is built against the glacier heading up. It seems like that's where all the footprints went to. There is a bucket pulley system for taking things up higher on the glacier. Captain LaRusta, look, I'm not at all comfortable with the idea of leaving my ship without the strongest possible complement of guards. So me and my crew, we're gonna stay here aboard the Frost Skimmer.
I
However,
wouldn't have it any other way.
do
It
any of
makes
you
sense.
do any of you speak Uliwik?
Is that Orcish?
Bless you.
Well, that's the Ice Hunter's language. So, given that none of you speak it, I'll send one of my crew with you who he speaks enough to get by.
We'll keep him alive.
And don't worry, I speak Uliwek third best.
Or Gorlami.
So
So
What's his name?
his name is Ensign, and you see that he is wearing a red shirt.
Oh boy. We'll try to keep him alive. Let me
First off,
redact that.
I think we're better off not understanding the language.
Yes.
He does request a bonus of 50 gold. for
I'll
being
give
with
it
you
to
guys.
him.
Okay.
I'll consider it just temporary.
I'm sure the Shasta can pay that.
Are any of you guys interested in investigating those large bones any further? I mean, they are pretty big. Like I said, like some of the ribs arch taller than even Haggard.
Do they look like gnawed at, or were they intentionally built, or they look like they were kind of like nested by the dragon?
Go ahead and make an investigation check.
That's a natural one, but my investigation is a +1, so it's a 2.
Okay. I mean, it takes you a lot longer, but you're able to spend like 5-10 minutes going over the bones. You do see tooth marks with a monstrous bite radius, evidence that a gigantic predator ate at least some of these.
So that leads into my investigation. I was looking to see marks on it made it look like the animal died a natural death and decayed, or if it was predatory.
It is predatory. Why don't
Nature boy, can you check out this bite thing?
yeah, Laven, why don't you make a nature check with advantage for me?
Okay.
Because I helped.
Ooh, natural 20 on the second roll.
All right. It is pretty obvious to you that a dragon ate at least some of these creatures. Also, while you're looking around, Laven, you notice that there are smaller human bones in the pile as well, with the same bite marks.
I'll go back to Captain Lastella,
La Rusta.
LaRusta. As to there's like, you know what? I'm becoming increasingly uncomfortable with you staying in one spot based off of some of the things we're seeing over there. Can you do me a favor and cycle back, keep a safe distance, and we don't send up a message after a day?
Does anyone have a spell that we can actually send a message, or do they have a horn we can borrow? I just don't want to get stranded ourselves, because we just destroyed all those boats, so we literally have no way off besides this boat.
Yeah.
I can just scream into the wind.
Make him smell a skunk.
Yeah, if we have a druid. If you see anything weird in a nature sense come in, that means we've achieved our objective. Come pick us up.
If you see a dragon, that's not him.
I will circle the glacier here, and I'm going to see if I can find something that may be in a blind spot, given those icy peaks up there. We may be able to keep ourselves out of sight of the old White Death.
Yep. When we make a signal, it'll be obvious. You'll know that it's safe to return here.
All right.
Our signal is blowing everything up. We're going by history.
I guess I don't really have... that's a shame. Put you guys back there for now. All right, so as you guys ascend the ladder to a higher part of the plateau, so you get to the top of Oya Vigaton. It's a plateau, but it's not level. The ground is uneven, fractured by narrow ice chasms, divided by rills, snowdrifts, and ice ridges, some taller than a human, sculpted by sea spray and wind.
Should have gotten ice spikes.
You notice as you guys are walking across the plateau that these ridges have actually hidden from you the village of the ice hunters, and you don't notice it until you're about 200 feet from the closest shelter. The first sight that greets you guys as you emerge onto the plateau is a row of 10 corpses frozen into a wall of ice. 3 Luscar warriors, a dwarf, and 6 ice hunters. The bodies have been preserved in the ice, making it impossible to tell how long they've been there. The southerners, being the Luscar warriors, and the dwarf were some of probably some of the companions of Macath, since that host tower for the Arcane Brotherhood was in Luskan. The village itself sits in a sheltered spot near the center of the iceberg, so that when the wind blows, which, as you guys have noticed in your short time here, is all the time, snow whips off the surrounding drifts and surrounds the settlement in a swirling shroud of white.
Yeah, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Do we see a giant wall anywhere? With Jon Snow on top of it?
No.
That's Jaehaerys Targaryen. Or no, it's Aegon. They did that stupid thing. Even though there already is one in the books. Yes, I'm that person.
All right, guys. Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Ooh, I am rolling terrible this game.
16.
Adjusted 15.
Adjusted 10. 4 plus 6.
Okay. Say 15, Hagrid.
14.
14. Okay. So as you guys are approaching the village, some of you are able to sort of get this count right away. It takes a couple, some of you a little bit longer, but in the end, you all are able to basically count. There's 20 structures that make up the village, divided between snow block shelters similar to igloos and double-walled yurts. They're not go yurts. These are a little more.
These are stay yurts.
A little more permanent. Yeah, they're stay yurts, made from sealskin stretch over whalebone frames.
I have one question before you continue. Did
Yeah.
Tony have to take off his boots to count up to the 20?
You know, his intelligence is only 8. It's not like he's that dumb.
I mean, he plays it like it's a 4.
He's smarter than I am.
All right, same question to Crispin.
So yeah.
I did this. I got that much.
Tony counted using Crispin's fingers. While Tony isn't great at counting, he is a brilliant tactician. So 16 of the structures are small, like one-room looking family dwellings. One of them looks like a storeroom. There's a yurt near the center of the village that's slightly larger than the others. The largest structure in the village kind of looks like a meeting hall. But as you guys approach on the obvious path, because there's really no, I mean, with the low visibility and everything, you guys are sort of forced to follow the path more traveled.
Cool.
And as you guys also were, the village was shielded by those ice ridges. Like I said, you were about 200 feet away from the nearest building once you were able to finally see that there were buildings here. So the village's 12 sled dogs start barking and growling. So the basically, as soon as the dogs begin barking and growling, the whole village turns out armed and alert.
Good.
25
Get those dogs up.
25 tribal warriors, 30 commoners, 1 druid, and a gladiator. They come out and start to circle the party.
At this point, I'm going to go and kind of shoulder up against Leah and goes like, so are you able to create a whole mess of water?
Ensign, tell him we want Macath.
Yeah. Because if you, Laven,
Well,
if
they're
you
having
can,
that conversation.
I don't think I
Laven,
know how to do that.
that's a shame, because if you knew how to do that, I knew how to get us out of here really quick.
Well, yeah, we have a boat.
I can make a lot of fire.
Unfortunately, that's not enough.
I mean, you can melt the ice they're standing on and make them slip.
That's
Well,
that's actually a start.
I can make a wall of fire.
Oh, that's a good start.
Look,
What's your thought here?
So I have a certain ability where if we can get water underneath the feet of these ice hunters, we can incapacitate a few of them.
As you guys
Nothing might not
are
be a bad idea.
talking and scheming, the chieftain, which is an ice hunter wearing sort of a cloak/hood that's made of the skin of a very large seal, as well as someone who has a lot of, it looks like, ceremonial jewelry made out of bones. They appear to be some sort of shaman. Start talking in a language obviously you guys can understand, that Uluik language. The
Understand what she's saying.
the ensign starts listening, and basically he says, so they want to know why we're here.
We just told to tell them we're here from a Cath, the
No,
Crimson.
Tell them that we're lost. So, however, it takes them forever to say anything. Their language is very slow, so we can kind of take some time to discuss tactics.
Okay. Yeah, I guess go with we're lost.
So the ensign, you hear him say a few words in a very poor Uluik accent, and the chieftain says a few more words, and the ensign reports back. He says, "They say that there's sea monsters and ravaging scrags in the area, and that it's best if we leave."
Not to contradict, but if there's sea monsters out there, wouldn't it be best to stay here? Like, wouldn't that be in our best interest? Tell them that. Like, the sea monsters are out there. They're not here. So why is it in our best interest to go out there where they are?
It's a great question.
Like, my intelligence is 7, and even I know that. No monsters here, safer than monsters there.
As you guys are talking with the ensign and the shaman, the rest of the ice hunters have the circle has been getting tighter and tighter. They're frowning and muttering. The dogs are growling. Eight of their warriors attempt to take your weapons, not necessarily forcefully, but they're just attempting to take your weapons so that their chieftain and shaman are protected. And you notice a few villagers who aren't in the circle off to the side of the ledge. And they're keeping a cautious eye on the frost skimmer. And you see them kind of circling the ledge with keeping a close eye on the ship.
I voluntarily hand over my rapier and one of my daggers. I want to try to keep my dagger venom and one of my other daggers hidden.
Okay, go ahead and make a sleight of hand check.
That is a 12 plus 8, 20.
Okay, you are able to successfully keep your dagger venom hidden. What about you other guys?
I will sit there and say, it's like, hey, let's have an accord. I'm not going to attack you with this weapon, but you're not going to take it from me.
Yeah, I'm not going to hand over my warhammer. I'm just going to place it at my belt.
I'm hoping all they can see of mine is the staff, because that's really my only weapon.
Right. Yeah. So while you are saying that, so that you say this to the ensign, the villagers, Cassius and Hagrid, they, as I said, they're not trying to forcefully take your weapons, but they do have, a couple of them have a hand or two on like your arm and hand, attempting to sort of stay you. You know what I mean? Like, they're not trying to restrain you or anything, but they're trying to make sure that you don't make any sudden movements. The ensign speaks with the chieftain, the shaman, and he says, that you guys don't mean them any harm, and that you don't want to be. You don't mean them harm, so there's no reason for them to take your weapons. And they start talking to each other, and the ensign, he turns and looks back to you, says, "Guys, this is really weird. The ice hunters, they usually leave us alone. They're almost never hostile like this. This is really weird." Whoever wants to, go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Good at that. Ooh,
I should be good at
Nice.
that.
25.
Laven, what'd you say?
13.
13. Hagrid?
Oh, you said whoever wants to.
Oh, okay. If you don't want to, that's okay.
I got a 19.
Okay. Crispin, how'd you do?
I have a +7, but I still managed to get a 9.
I have a +9, and that's still, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Cassius, you notice several villagers slipping away one by one, disappearing into the meeting hall. You see them be gone for a couple minutes, and then they pop back out, like kind of standing there like they never left.
Guys, they know.
So the chieftain steps up, who the ensign has related to you by now is known as Barking Seal, hence the seal outfit. He steps up, Bone Carver, and there is a warrior who has his face painted sort of the same as like as an orca, a killer whale. You notice them all sizing you guys up, and since you guys are not really wanting to leave, Barking Seal has proposed a contest. The village's champion, as he points to the man known as Orca Heart, against any warrior that you guys choose.
Ensign.
If we win, you guys have to hand over some of your weapons and get out of here, never to come back. We would like your fine steel. If you guys win, you will have earned a place among us. You can stay the night here. We'll help you with food, anything you may need while you are here. You will be treated as one of us.
Well, until that fight happens, give me back my weapons, just in case I'm the one chosen.
Ensign, tell them this. Here's the thing about our culture is we don't do anything by ourselves. It's either all 5 of us fight against 5 individuals, or we're not considering the deal. We'll face your
5 best men.
Yeah, we'll face
4.
their champion, and we'll face their top 4 contenders. But we're all fighting together, or we're not fighting.
Tony can sit this one out.
Oh, I said 5 so that Tony can be involved. The ensign, however, the ensign is not a soldier. The ensign stays unharmed.
After talking it over with Orca Heart and the shaman, who you come to understand is named Bone Carver, they agree to your terms. However, one of you must agree to fight Orca Heart one-on-one during this fight.
I can agree to that. Best out of 5. Only 3 of us have to win.
I don't know. I feel like Hagrid's our best fighter.
Depends.
Cassius, you're new to this group. I don't know.
Look, I'm not here to disrupt team dynamics.
I've never seen you in action. I just don't know what you bring to the table, to be honest.
Let me just tell you right now is that
I saw you like
the easiest way to describe me is I'm a monster.
Well, look at me. I could say the same thing about myself.
No,
that guy can turn into literal monsters.
We
could all say it.
We're using different definitions here, and you'll find out soon enough.
I would just like to know what exactly you are a doctor of, Mr. Franklin.
I'm an alchemist. Thank you very much. I received a doctor in alchemy.
Well, I'm fine with fighting whomever. If Cassius wants to take him, I'm fine with it.
I'm just saying, there's no better way to learn who we are than to create fire, the forge of war, the fire of war. Well, look, I just want to move. It's cold. Let's go.
Okay.
Brain works slower when it's cold. I don't have any minds.
So, Cassius wants to be squad leader. That's fine.
Oh, no, I don't want to be squad leader. I just want to fight.
Go for it. I'm more of a stabby, things in the back kind of guy, so. I don't want to face him.
All right.
I'll steal stuff from him when you distract him.
I didn't realize that. Okay. I didn't realize that they didn't give me some of the
Stat blocks.
yeah, stat blocks basically.
So, Leyland, do you have any like Arctic animals you can turn into?
Probably. Let's see what I can turn into.
Like a polar bear or some shit.
Oh, God, what do I have
Arctic.
here? As everyone's talking here,
I could go brown bear or giant owl.
Nice. Okay.
What?
Can you do swimming animals yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Ooh.
as we're all talking here, I also consume my vial of reconstruction.
Okay. Let's take a quick 5-minute break again really quick so I can get this set up for you guys, and then we can do this battle, and then all right, we'll be right back.
Sweet deal. Hey, you're watching the cast of Jaygeons and Dragclarks start off the rise of Tiamat. We'll be taking a short break, but we'll be back soon. Corey, one of my track alumni has told us to check the comments.
Juicy J.
Dola, you dickweed.
That's right.
Yep. Hey, Dola, go do law school things. Do that you can be like other great lawyers, like Leovan MD.
He did a thumbs up monstery looking thingy.
Yeah,
So
that
what's
sounds
the
like
rules of this combat? Like, once we kill the guy that we're starting off one-on-one with, are we spectators at that point, or?
Yes.
Okay. So
Also, this
a bunch
is
of
not
duels.
this is not like a battle to the death.
Okay.
This is just trial by combat essentially.
yeah, it's a battle until we give up. Additionally, Corey, just to let you know how reconstruction works. At the start of, and let me make sure I got the vocabulary right. While conscious in combat, I regain 5 HP at the start of my turn as long as I'm above 0. However, I give up 10 feet of move speed in order to have this bonus. So my move speed is down to 20 feet.
Okay. Why don't you guys square up with whoever it is that you're fighting? I don't remember which one of you agreed to fight Orca.
I think Hagrid was voluntold to take that fight.
So yeah, I would do it, but you know.
Scott's got a thing for orcas. And not killing them.
I could turn into a giant octopus.
This would be a terrible environment for it because I don't know if octopuses are warm or cold-blooded.
I don't know if it matters. Does it matter?
I don't know. It depends if Corey thinks it matters.
How about a swarm of quippers?
A swarm of what?
Quippers, one-liners. It's just a bunch of one-liners.
There is one other caveat to this battle, and that is that the use of magic is prohibited.
Oh, yep. I'd be a poor choice.
Man, it's a
could
good-
just I could whack him with a stick.
Yeah, it's a good thing that I'm not magical.
Laven, I will point this out. Obviously, with everyone having like animal names and stuff like that, like orca heart, barking seal, stuff like that, it's pretty obvious that they have a totemic animal worshipping structure.
Okay.
So you could probably read into that if you were to change into an animal, that would not be viewed as using magic. That's like nature, and that's what they like, kind of thing.
Okay.
All right, so
Just for watching this, for the sake of whatever it might do, I'm just gonna become a giant owl while watching.
okay.
Yeah, I think that is important. Or is we fighting like 5 rounds of 1v1, or is it 5v5?
It's 5 rounds of 1v1.
5 rounds of 1v1. Okay.
Okay, so
Are we starting with the undercard and work our way up to the main event, or is it main event and on down?
this is like a street brawl.
Oh, so it's 5 1v1s as opposed to 1v1, 1v1, so on and
Correct.
so forth.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I really wanted to see the Sword Coast idea of Fight Night.
Let's go ahead then, guys, and roll initiative. Okay.
Ooh, +4. That's nice. Okay.
All right.
Wait, we're rolling initiative? What's the deal?
It's going to determine
To start the street brawl.
Yeah, the order in which you guys go in.
Oh, I thought it was... I misunderstood. I thought one of us was fighting.
No,
We're all fighting one person,
Yeah.
respectively.
Cassius did not want to not fight, so
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
it's 5 simultaneous 1v1 fights.
yeah.
We're all pretty much proven that we
Okay.
belong.
Okay.
Except for
Yeah.
Red Shirt and Tony.
So the way we're going to do this then is, if you no, actually, never mind. I don't need to do anything different. All right, so 25 to 20.
22.
Okay.
17 plus 5.
Yeah, and Hagrid registered at 21.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Hagrid.
Really looking at a different screen because mine hasn't changed.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Thank you. I forget that you guys don't see what I see. Okay, 15 to 20.
I got a 15.
Okay.
Oh, 12. Oh, wait, that's not 15 to 20. That's 10 to 15.
Jay, you said you got a 15?
Yes, and when it becomes easily available, can you unlock my token?
Unlock your token. Oh, yes.
Give him control.
There we go. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
90 is the number I need to put in there. Okay.
Damn.
Yes, you and I need to swap positions to take on the big guy.
No, I believe you're taking on the big guy. I just wanted to make sure that it was more than just one person fighting.
All right. 10 to 15.
12.
Oh, shit. I forgot to roll for Tony. Tony has advantage on initiative. Okay, so Tony got a 19. Okay. All right. Sorry that took so long. Crispin, you are up first.
All right. Coming in, stepping up, swinging the rapier. Ouch. For a 9. Not going to hit, right?
A 9 does not hit. No.
All right, I'm going to follow up with a dagger of venom.
Okay.
And that is a much better. That's a 24.
That will hit.
All right, and I'm going to use the poison damage if that does not count as magic.
No.
All right, base damage is not good as an 8. And 2d10. 2d10. And the 2d10 is a 9 more, so 17 damage on him.
Okay. That's actually enough to knock out this warrior.
One punch. One punch.
One punch orc. One punch orc.
Hagrid, you're up.
Maybe I should have taken on the big guy.
I'm sorry, did you call my name?
Yes, you're up.
All right. I am going to try to use my bison head ring.
Okay.
They did say we can't use magic.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did put in that caveat.
Unless that magic is turning into an animal.
Yep.
All right. Well, I've only got one thing to do then.
Question: would they interpret a smite as magic, since that's a divine ability as opposed to a spell?
That I don't think so, because that's not like an obvious sort of arcane element, you know? Like that would be like, you know, your sword deals, you know, a radiant damage in addition to its thing. Versus, you know, shooting a guiding bolt at somebody is pretty obviously magic. So that's a good point, Jay. Hagrid, you could use, you know, your divine smite or, you know, whatever any of your other bonus action smite spells are.
Well, I just assumed we were using magic because Laven was turning into an owl.
Mm-hmm.
That was just if I was watching, so I don't actually want to be an owl because that would not be a good choice.
You can peck him to death.
That's just what I heard, but I wasn't paying attention, I guess.
No, I apologize. So Leovins, they have a totemic animal worship society. So someone who could transform into an animal would to them be viewed as, you know, sort of godly, versus they have a extreme distrust of arcane casters, basically.
Okay. Can you just check something here?
Sure.
Oh, the Skyrim music's back.
By the way, Dola said, "Can't. I'm putting my liberal arts education to good use by working at a bar."
All right, so attempt melee with my warhammer, and does a 17 hit?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to use Divine Smite at my highest level, which is 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
So he takes 11 bludgeoning
Mm-hmm.
plus 18 radiant.
All right. He does not go down as easily as the tribal warriors. So he is still standing.
I'm going to use my extra attack then,
Okay.
and that would be a 27 to hit.
Mm-hmm. That'll hit.
And I'm also going to use another spell slot for Divine Smite.
Mm-hmm.
This time I can only use a second level. So he takes 11 bludgeoning again, and then 19 radiant.
All right. So that's going to bring us to Tony. Tony is going to go into a rage, and he's going to run up and whack this person several times.
In true Tony style, should he do it recklessly?
Yeah. How many attacks does he get again? 2. Okay. Tony's first attack is gonna hit, and his second attack also hits actually. So that's gonna be 2d12 plus 6. So it's 7, 4, or 13 plus 2d4 fire damage. That's another 5. So that knocks his person out too. Also, for those of you who are curious about the fire damage, his axe actually doesn't do magic damage. The fire inborn trait comes from the forge that it was cast in. So, like when we were doing all those fights in Horde of the Dragon Queen, when it came to creatures that had resistance to non-magical damage, Tony was doing half damage like all the time. Anyway, that brings us to Orca Heart. He's going to step up and attack you, Hagrid. He's going to... He's going to use his spear. He's going to try to hit you 3 times with it. That's a 18, another miss, and another miss, right? Because you're like, what, a 20 or 21 for your AC?
21 right now.
21, okay. Damn! And then he's also going to
That's
attempt
why he's going against the big guy.
He's also going to attempt a shield bash. And that's going to be a 20. You said a 21 was your AC, right?
Correct.
Jesus. All right. So that's it for him. Cassius, you're up.
All right, I'm going to do 2 things, neither of which is going to be attack. What I'm going to sit there and first off
strategy.
is first off, I'm going to use my bonus action to invoke the blood curse of mutual suffering, so that the guy that I am fighting with, whenever he deals damage to me, he takes half of that damage as necrotic, because it is technically alchemy and not magic. And then with the second one is I'm going to take my rapier, pull it out from its scabbard, and I'm going to just slide it across my left hand, making it making myself bleed. I'll take 9 damage. That also lowers my max HP in order to give Rite of the Storm to the rapier. I'll point it at him and goes, "Give me your best shot."
Okay.
So he takes 4 damage then, right?
No, it's based off of damage he does to me, not damage I do himself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It'd be super, super awesome if that's
I thought it was all damage he took. Sorry.
Yep. No, it is whenever... The next time the link creature deals damage to you with the weapon attack.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
That'd be so sadistic. Just start stabbing yourself.
Stop hitting yourself! Stop hitting yourself!
Is that it for you, Cassius?
It is.
Okay, Laven, you're up.
Okay. I'm just gonna see if I can do this a simple way and just step up and whack him with my stick.
Okay.
They don't
Simple
seem
way.
that tough. Oh, I rolled a nat 20,
Damn.
but I do almost no damage. So
You do double almost no damage.
5 times 2 is 10.
2 times 0 is still 2.
Wait, do I get to two-hand that? Yeah. So 10.
Okay. He's still standing.
Okay. That's it. I only get the one attack,
Okay.
and I have no magic. So
All right. So the tribal warriors are up now. So obviously not understanding.
That, by coming into my range of attack, that triggers Sentinel, so I get 1 free attack on him with my reaction.
Okay.
Damn.
Yep. Holy shit, that's a natural fucking 20. So that is a D8 plus a D6 damage. So the piercing damage is the full 8, so that is 16 plus, as I go in here, 16 plus 6, so that is
That's enough to knock him out.
22. And then the storm damage that is on top of that is another 4 lightning damage.
Okay.
So the corpse just starts smoldering.
Yeah. And then Leovin. Let's see.
I'm glad I waited on that then. Sentinel rocks.
All right, Leovin. This guy's gonna try to attack you with his spear. That's a natural 1, so he misses. So that brings us back up to the top with, I guess, Hagrid now.
Finish him.
Most other people are dead.
Melee. That's an adjusted 20.
Okay.
And again, using Divine Smite at the 2nd level. It's 10 bludgeoning and 6 radiant.
Okay. All right. He's starting to look a little ragged.
And that's I think that's all I can do.
Did you do both attacks already?
No. I didn't realize that your bonus could be another melee,
Well, you have extra attack.
Paladin, bitch.
but I thought that was only one use.
No, you're thinking of action surge as your fighter. Extra attack every time you attack with your weapon. You attack twice.
It's been a while since I've been a paladin.
It's all right.
It's nice.
It's amazing.
I say I barely remember half my stuff right now. So
Also, another reason why I was kind of okay with this battle happening.
yeah.
That's only a 14. That may not hit.
No, a 14 is going to clang off of his shield.
Okay.
All right, and then he's going to try to attack you again. He's going to try to make another 3 attacks with his spear. One of those will be a hit. And that's going to be... okay. 10 damage. And then he's going to try to shield bash you again. That's going to miss, though. Alright, that brings us to Leovin.
I rolled a 1 already, so
Okay, so then your tribal warrior is going to attack you since it's the only one left. It's going to try to hit you with the spear with 2 hands. That's going to be a... what is it? It's a +3, so an 11.
misses.
Misses, okay. Hagrid, you're up again.
Okay, so melee is a 17.
That'll hit.
He used Divine Smite again, but only at the first level.
Okay.
He takes 12 bludgeoning and 5 radiant.
All right.
Extra attack is a 19.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, smite at first level. So he takes 9 bludgeoning and 4 radiant.
Okay. Nice, nice. All right, now he's going to try to attack you again.
Still standing? Damn.
Still standing, yeah. They only have one village warrior. All 3 of those are going to miss. And so does the shield bash. So, Laven, you're up again.
Okay, I did not roll this time. Ah!
You threw it on the ground.
I did 11 to hit. Maybe?
11
Close.
will not hit. It's close,
Ah.
but it won't hit.
Okay.
So then he's going to try to attack you. That's going to miss, though. If an 8 missed last time, that's going to miss. So, Haggard, you're up again.
The 2. And 9 bludgeoning.
What did you roll to hit him?
22.
Oh, okay. You said 9 bludgeoning. Okay.
Yep. And extra attack is only at 15.
15 will just barely miss. He's able to kind of sidestep and hit that one to the
Okay.
side with his shield.
Gotcha.
Laven, you're up again.
That's got to hit. 20 total.
Yeah, that'll hit.
20 total? Does that hit?
Yeah, that hits.
Yes? You're giving me nothing. Hello?
I think Corey's froze up.
Oh, shit.
All right.
Corey's doing a very good job of staying still.
I'm going to roll a 4 for damage. And so, is he dead?
Yeah. He just. Oh, Corey's camera's dead, if that's what you're talking about.
Can you guys hear me?